Hi everyone, here welcome back to another amazing tutorial. So today I'm going to be sharing with you how to draft and cut this beautiful corset blouse with an asymmetric hem. It is very simple, detailed and beginner friendly. So if this looks like what you really wish to learn, please watch this video till the end. And if this is your first time on the channel, don't forget to subscribe, like and also drop a comment. The first thing I'll go ahead to do is to draft the front block of the blouse, and when drafting the front block, make sure you draft it on fold because of the asymmetric design we have on the hem of the blouse. So first thing I went ahead to do was to draw my shoulder line, which is also going to be serving as the top line, and all measurement will be starting from this line I just drew. Next, I went ahead to insert my vertical measurement. So first I measure my shoulder to bust point, which is 10.5, then shoulder to under bust, which is 14 inch, shoulder to waist 18 inch, and shoulder to my actual blouse length is 26 inch. But because of the asymmetric design we have on the hem of the blouse, I went ahead to add 5 inch extra to the actual blouse length. After marking this point, the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do is to draw straight horizontal lines at the point I just marked, like you see me doing in the video. Next, I'll go ahead to label this part as my bust point. Here is the under bust line, here is the waistline, here is my hip line, and here is the blouse length line. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to insert my shoulder measurement on the shoulder line. So I'll go ahead to divide my shoulder into 2 and mark. After marking that, I'll come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope. After which I'll go ahead to insert my armhole depth line, which is 8 inch. Next, I'll go ahead to draw the armhole depth line with my ruler like this. After drawing the armhole depth line, the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to draw the dart, and in doing that, I'll go ahead to mark half of my bust span measurement, which is 3.75 on the bust point line, on the waistline, and also on the blouse length line. After marking it, I'll connect the point together with a straight line like this. Next, I'll go ahead to take out my dart. For the dart, I'm going to be using 1 inch for the dart, so I'll go ahead to mark 0.5 inch on both sides of my underbust, waistline, and also the blouse length line. After marking 0.5 inch on both sides, I'll connect the underbust to the blouse length with a straight line like you see me doing in the video. Next, I'll go ahead to draw the under bust curve, and in doing that, I'll be coming down by 1 inch from the bust point and mark. Then I'll go ahead to connect that 1 inch to the under bust using the curved part of my ruler like this. So next, I'm going to go ahead to insert my neck measurement on the neckline. So I'll go ahead to mark a neck width of 3 inch and a neck depth of 3 inch also. So this neckline is not really needed, but it's going to be serving as a guide. After doing that, I'll go ahead to draw the shoulder slope also. Next, I'll go ahead to draw the armhole for the front, and in doing that, I'll divide what I have on my armhole depth into 2. Then I'll go in by 0.5 inch, after which I'll go ahead to draw the armhole curve like this. So on the chest line, I'll go ahead to insert my bust measurement divided by 4. So my bust is 36 divided by 4 is 9 inch. I'll insert that on the chest line. After which I'll go ahead to draw the armhole curve with the curved part of my ruler like this. So next, I'm going to go ahead to determine how off I want the blouse to be. So this depends on how much cleavage you are willing to show. So for me, what I love to do is to measure what I have between my bust point and my under bust. Then I'll go ahead to take it upward. So what I have between my bust point and under bust is 3.5 inch. I'm going to go ahead to measure the 3.5 inch upward like this. Then I'll go ahead to draw a straight horizontal line at that point. So if you want yours to be lower than this, you can simply go ahead to decide how off you want the neckline to be. So for me, my neckline is going to be starting at this point I just marked. Once I'm done doing that, the next thing I'll go ahead to do is to extend my bust point line like this. Then I'll go ahead to tighten the over bust, and in doing that, I'll mark 0.5 inch on both sides like you see me doing in the video, after which I'll connect it back to the bust point with my ruler like this. So once I'm done doing this, the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to draw the cups for the corset, and in doing that, I'll be coming down by 1 inch from this neckline I have here because of the sweetheart neckline we have at that point. After doing that, I'm going to go ahead to go in by 0.5 inch at the point I just marked like this. Then I'll draw a small line at that point. Next, I'm going to go ahead to connect this point to this first dart leg with my ruler like this. After doing that, I'll connect my underbust to the 0.5 inch point I just marked with the curved part of my ruler like this. So when drawing this part, make sure you make the part to have enough space. You should have a U shape after drawing it so that the bust sits properly in the cups when the dress is being worn. So this is what the first cup is going to look like. Next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to draw the cups for the other side. And in doing that, first I'll divide what I have from this point to this point into 2 and mark. Then I'll be coming down by 0.5 inch and mark also. After marking, I'll go ahead to draw a small line like this, after which I'll draw another horizontal line at this point. Next, I'll connect this point to this point, and then I'll go ahead to connect that point to the underbust with my ruler like you see me doing in the video. So this is what the second cup is going to look like. So basically we are done with the cups. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to close up that area so that I'll be able to achieve my sweetheart neckline, because the style we're trying to illustrate has a sweetheart neckline. So after blending, this is what the neckline is going to look like. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to draw the shoulder for the blouse we are making. So the width of the shoulder is going to be 2 inch. So from the edge of my shoulder, I'm going to go ahead to come in by 2 inch and mark. After marking that, I'll connect this third dart leg to the 2 inch I just marked on my shoulder slope line like this. So this part is going to be the shoulder for the blouse we are going to be making. I'm going to be cutting off this other neck area. Once I'm done doing all this, the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to insert my bust measurement on the chest line and mark. Then I'll measure what I have on the dart area and replace that on the side also. Next, I'll move over to the waistline. So for the waist is a little bit snatched, and to achieve that, I went ahead to minus 1 inch from my actual waist measurement, which is 31. So I'm going to go ahead to divide the 30 into 4, which is 7.5. I'll mark that, after which I'll go ahead to replace this dart on the side also. Next, I'll move over to the hip line. I'll go ahead to insert my hip measurement divided by 4, then plus the 1 inch that we took on the side. I'm going to go ahead to insert the same measurement I inserted on my hip line on the blouse length, after which I'll go ahead to connect the sides together with my ruler like you see me doing in the video. But I'm going to be connecting the waist to the hip line using dotted lines because I'm going to be altering that part later on. So the blouse we're trying to illustrate is very free on the hip area. So to achieve that, I'm going to go ahead to add 2.5 inch to my actual hip measurement to make it very free at that point. So first I'll go ahead to extend my hip line and also my blouse length line, after which I'll mark the 2.5 inch on both my hip line and also my blouse length line. After marking it, I'll go ahead to connect the waist to the hip line with the curved part of my ruler like you see me doing in the video. So I'm going to go ahead to connect the hip line to the blouse length line using the straight line because I don't really need that part. I'm going to be trimming that part off later on as the tutorial progresses. So after connecting the sides together, this is what the blouse is going to look like. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to insert my bust dart. And the bust dart is the difference between your shoulder to waist for your front and that of the back. So in my case, I'm working with 1 inch. I'll mark the 1 inch from the bust point, after which I'll connect it back to my nipple to nipple line with my ruler like you see me doing in the video. So I'm supposed to do this before drawing my cups, but I'm going to go ahead to redraw the cup after closing the bust dart. So next I'll go ahead to insert my sewn allowance of 1.5 inch on the chest line, on the waistline, on the hip line and also the blouse length line, after which I'll connect the sides together like this. So basically this is what the front block of the blouse is going to look like. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to cut it out, but before cutting it out, I'm going to go ahead to close the bust dart and also redraw the side cups. So I'm just going to go ahead to cut out the side like you see me doing in the video. So before I go ahead to close up the bust dart for this part, I'll have to also trace my dart on the other side of the blouse. So what I'll go ahead to quickly do now is to trace the dart on the other side of the blouse, then I'll come back to show you what to do next. So after tracing the dart on the other side, this is what it is going to look like. So I went ahead to trace just the dart on the other side. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to close the bust dart, and in doing that, the first thing I'm going to go ahead to do is to cut through this dart like you see me doing in the video. After cutting through the dart, the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to close the bust dart. So while doing this, I went ahead to fold the paper together, after which I just taped this part with my sellotape. Then I went ahead to tape the other part with my sellotape like you see me doing in the video. So after closing the bust dart, the next thing I went ahead to do was to redraw the side cup like you see me doing in the video, after which I went ahead to blend the sides together. So after doing all this, I went ahead to also close up the bust dart on the other side of the blouse, after which I went ahead to cut it out. So after cutting, this is what the corset blouse is going to look like. So make sure you notch and label it properly so you don't interchange the cups while you're trying to stitch them together. So this is what the front block of the corset is going to look like. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to work on the hem of the blouse. To draw the asymmetric design on the hem of the blouse, the first thing I'm going to go ahead to do is to join the center to the side with my sellotape like you see me doing in the video, and I'll be doing the same thing on both sides of the blouse. After joining the center to the side, the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to start drawing the asymmetric design on the front block of the blouse. And in doing that, the first thing to do is to come down from your actual waistline by 5 inch. So I'm going to go ahead to measure 5 inch from my waistline and I'll mark that. After marking that, I'll come over to the hem. So from those points where the center meets with the side, you're going to be going in by 1 inch like this and also mark. After marking that, you connect that 1 inch you just marked to the 5 inch you came down by from the waistline using a straight line like this. Once you're done doing that, the next thing to do is to move over to the side of the blouse, and on the side I'm going to go ahead to measure 5 inch on the side of the blouse like this, and I'll go ahead to mark that also. After marking that, I'll go ahead to connect this point to this point using a curve like you see me doing in the video. So I'm going to be using my hand to draw a nice curve at that point because my ruler will not really give me the shape I wanted, so I went ahead to use my hand to draw the curve like you see me doing in the video. After drawing the curve, this is what it looks like once I was done doing that. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to work on the other side of the blouse. And to do that, what I'll go ahead to simply do is to go up by 5 inch on the side of the blouse like you see me doing in the video. After which I'll go ahead to connect that point to the hem of the blouse. That is this 1 inch you came in by on the hem using my ruler like this. So basically this is what it is going to look like once you're done drawing the lines. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to cut it out. After cutting, this is what the front block of the corset blouse is going to look like. So make sure you label it appropriately so you don't exchange the parts while cutting your fabric. The next I'm going to go ahead to quickly do now is to draft the back block of the corset blouse. For the back block of the blouse, there will be no zipper allowance on the back block of the blouse, but if you want yours to have a zipper, you can simply go ahead to insert a zipper allowance before you go ahead to insert your vertical measurement. So next, I'll go ahead to insert my vertical measurement, which is my shoulder to bust point, then shoulder to waist. Note that the shoulder to waist for the front and the back is not the same, so make sure you take your measurements correctly before inserting it. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to bring in my front block. Then I'll go ahead to measure what I have from the waist to the hem of the blouse. After taking the measurement, what I got was 8.5 inch. So I'm going to go ahead to insert that 8.5 inch from the waistline measurement I marked on the back block and mark like this. After which I'll go ahead to draw straight horizontal lines. Next, I'll go ahead to insert my shoulder measurement on the shoulder line. So I'll mark half of my shoulder measurement on the shoulder line. Then I'll go ahead to come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope. After which I'll draw the armhole depth line with my ruler like you see me doing in the video. Next, I'm going to go ahead to draw the dart for the back block of the corset blouse. So I'll go ahead to insert half of my bust pan measurement on the chest line down to the hem of the blouse, after which I'll connect the point together with a straight line like this. Before drawing the dart, I'm going to go ahead to move to the shoulder line and I'll take out the neck width measurement I took out for the front, which is 3 inch. After doing that, I'm going to go ahead to draw the shoulder slope because we don't really need the neckline at this point. After drawing the shoulder slope, the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to take out my dart. And for the dart, I'll be marking 1 inch for the dart. So I'll go ahead to mark 0.5 inch on both sides of my chest line like this. And I'll repeat the same thing on the waistline and also on the blouse length line. After marking that, I'll connect them together with a straight line like you see me doing in the video. So after drawing my dart, the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to move over to the shoulder slope and also mark out 2 inch for the shoulder of the blouse I'm going to be making. After which I'll go ahead to connect that point to this third dart leg with my ruler like you see me doing in the video. So this part is going to be the dart and I'm going to be cutting that part off later. Next, I'll go ahead to insert my bust measurement on the chest line plus this 1 inch dart. Then on the waistline, I'll also go ahead to insert my waist measurement divided by 4 plus the 1 inch dart also, then plus 1.5 inch allowance. I'll also be marking 1.5 inch allowance on the chest line. Then on the hip line, I'm going to go ahead to insert my hip measurement divided by 4 mark plus the 1 inch dart and 1.5 inch sewing allowance. After doing that, I'll connect the sides together with my ruler like this. So after connecting the sides together, the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to extend my blouse length line like this. Then I'll go ahead to add the 2.5 inch I added to the front block of the blouse also on the back. After which I'll connect the waist to the hip using the curved part of my ruler like you see me doing in the video. So this is what the back is going to look like. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to work on the center back. So because there will be no zipper on the center back, I'm going to be going in by 1.5 inch on the center back. That is, I'm trying to create the point where I'll be attaching my loops. So I'll go ahead to mark the 1.5 inch all the way down, after which I'll connect the point together with a straight line like you see me doing in the video. So I'm going to be attaching my loops on this part of the blouse. So this part is going to be going off. So basically this is what the back block of the blouse is going to look like. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to cut it out. But before cutting, what I love to do is to place my front and back block together to make sure that the waist to the hem of the blouse is equal. So if it is not equal, you can go ahead to adjust it to make sure that both sides of the blouse are equal. So I'm going to go ahead to work on the side like this, after which I'll go ahead to cut it out. So at this point, I realized I forgot to draw the armhole for the back block of the blouse. So I'm just going to go ahead to draw the armhole like this, then I'll cut it out. So this is what the back block of the blouse is going to look like once you're done cutting it out. And here I have the center back. So make sure you create a mark at the center part indicating the part that is going to be at the top, so you don't interchange the parts when cutting your fabric. So this is what the back block of the blouse is going to look like once you're done stitching it together. And here we have the front block of the blouse. So after stitching the front block of the blouse, you should have something like this once you're done stitching the piece together. So if you find this tutorial helpful, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and also drop a comment if you are yet to. You can also watch other interesting tutorials on this channel. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.